Okay, I think we can actually start the meeting. So last week was really important for us as we actually extracted the components, some components and media gallery modules to Magento Core, and right now they are available in Magento 2 repository into 3 develop branch. So, well, I guess everybody's up to date with that here on this meeting. Right now, some of great features developed in Adobe Stock Integration project were actually developed in Magento Core, but we are continuing the stabilization and bug fix for the current milestone on Adobe Stock Integration. However, probably we will also start to groom a bit of stories and features that we are planning to do in milestone 3. So if you might notice, like everybody right now is working on develop branch in Adobe Stock Integration project. First, there is 1.0.0 release branch that was created for the first release of our project, and there is also 1.1 develop branch that will be used for development of the next milestone, so that we could work on stabilization bug fixes and features for milestone 3 at the same time. I'm not sure if we'll create tasks for next milestone, the new features soon, but it may happen even this week or the next week. And if you will be working on such features, you'll need to create a pull request to 1.1 develop branch instead of develop branch, where we are stabilizing the implemented functionality. Also, I'd like to say that Adobe Stock Integration is going to be a bundled extension with Magento 2, the next release. So probably it will be by default available when you install the Magento 2 meta package. So these are some news and updates to start the meeting. And now let's actually, if anybody has any questions about what I just said, I'm ready to.
Maybe one quick question about grooming. Sorry, maybe I missed something, but will we have planning grooming for next milestone and when?
Yes, I think Eugen is here on the call. He probably will be able to share some new mockups for the milestone 3 development. We have groomed three stories already from the milestone 3. Probably we will revisit them. I hope next meeting when Elena will participate. And so we are planning to start groomings on milestone 3 as soon as possible.
Okay, nice. I want to join it because I have 2 ideas. The first one about comments and assets part of the Adobe Stock Integration, and the second one is just about the multiply save actions. It will be nice to discuss some stuff.
Okay. By the way, you can create niches for that ideas, like feature requests, so that we can even review them before the meeting and maybe discuss, so that we can be more productive during the next meeting when we'll groom this meeting and groom these features, like discuss these features and consider them.
Okay, I will try to prepare them, but it will be nice just to see what vision you have for the next milestone, in order just not to create the same stuff. Maybe we have one common idea. So if you will have a link to possible stories and issues, please send it. I will review on that.
I believe we will be ready to groom in the next 2 weeks, because right now we have some kind of little reorganization, and most of our resources are right now focused on it. So, and I believe in next future we will have clear time estimates and clear the scope of work what we need to do. But as Sergey mentioned, it's always cool to have some kind of pull request to see the idea, and I believe it won't be some kind of overhead what we already have and we plan to do.
Oh, okay, nice. Then I will add. Thank you for details.
Yeah, we can discuss even before we will start grooming. So it's always good to discuss.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Good. Then let's continue to pull request demo. Who would like to be the first?
Maybe I can.
Okay,
yeah.
Go ahead, Alex.
1 second, I will. Yeah. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, nice. So today I want to report about I want to discuss two things. The first one is just an open pull request, the first one, the media gallery module, where I provide a new unit test block for get by ID command. So currently it's under review. Thank you, Sergey and Urslav, for reviewing this stuff. So I implemented all required changes and waiting just for tests finishing. Also, if this pull request will be approved, we will represent the new way for covering tests for command with covering unit tests. It's very, from my point of view, interesting and constructive. So, but I will describe it only if this way will be approved. But I will say that we decided to divide tests on several classes, and this makes them more clear for understanding. So, and the second part of my report also will be linked to the comments approach. And this pull request already mentioned, already merged. And its main role is just to provide stabilization for several comments we use in Adobe Stock Integration. You see, we decided to use comments approach as the main principle to deliver composition in our project. From my point of view and the point of view of I don't know, Magento community developers, yes, composition is a great step forward to make a great, stable, and clear for understanding application. Because when you use comment, you just follow the keys principle and you make your code really as simple as possible, and at the same time it does things. So in this pull request, I provided next changes for comments. Firstly, we pay a lot of attention of the way how we present exception, because something can happen, and it's really useful for integrators and Magento users to understand where the problem happened and what the reason of it, and how we can solve it quickly. So we use this style for login messages. So we include logger, we make it the critical or something like that. And every exception has its own mindful class. So we use integration exception for general things, and this is very useful. And as you can see, message constructed from the text, and we also provide some arguments as this for just static test. But maybe this is not so critical, but nice to have. And also the final version of the style which we implement for our comments looks like this. The comment has one public method execute, and inside it we have a try catch block where we provide needed logic and just catch every exception. So maybe this will be the way for all comments represented in Adobe Stock Integration and Media Gallery module. And yep, maybe that's all. So this is how we built really simple and beautiful working code.
Yeah, that's very nice. Thank you. There is just one. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to say that we we had actually you, Eugene, pointed out to our approach of logging the exception.
Yes, I want.
Asking to provide as much information to the logger as possible, and that was last week when we were reviewing the pull request to Magento to core, and that is still not applied in this code.
Yeah, that's actually what I want to mention. That it's actually a good question to raise a discussion, because like if we're talking just about simple case when only developers work with this log and this log, like the Magento configured to use only monologue, it works. There is probably some like extra work like to localize this exception, because probably from my perspective, usually we work with English language in different system, and probably it's better to always see not localized exception, but the original error message without any localization and additional stuff. The question is, for example, if you use some custom third-party system for logging, message not always will be enough, and it's better to log like the old exception with tag trace, etc.
Yeah, thank you. I remember this review, your review, and I am working on implementation where we'll fix the way previously we log messages. So I will log only exceptions, so with a backtrace. This is really useful case. Think that we should create message only for maybe some localized exception and could not save exception, or I don't know, integration exception, because really it doesn't make sense on this level of architecture.
Yeah, thanks. Apart from that, that's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, and if somebody has own opinion about localization of error messages, just let's discuss it.
I actually have a doubt in the previous PR which he mentioned regarding the unit test which you wrote for getById class. I'm looking at the PR and I noticed that you've created different files for each kind of exception and one for a successful case. What's actually the reason for this? Just out of curiosity.
Let me explain this stuff. You know that we use the PHP mess detector, and the getById command has 3 exception and 1 successful result. Yes. And
right. Yeah.
And if we will collect all this stuff in one test, firstly, it's really hard to understand what's going on. And next, we will have exception in the PHP mess detector because we include more than 13 injections. So this is why I decided to divide them into several classes, several test classes, and every test test class has its own mindful name. So get by ID exception could not find such entity exception tests and something like this.
Yeah.
And the reason, just in this, so not to cover unit tests with do not suppress exception firstly, and just maybe that's all.
Yeah, I understand, but you're telling that creating different methods for each test case in the same test class is causing those mess detector exceptions? Just getting
Yes.
it. Okay. Okay.
It's
Thank you.
coupling between objects. Coupling
Yeah.
between objects is more than
Okay, because I've seen in Magento core code that usually like only one test class is used, and if that mess detector exception is thrown, then you just suppress it. So is there any reason we are splitting it and not suppressing that mess detector exception, or?
Well, yeah, it's always better to not suppress the static tests, because static tests are actually running to recommend us how to write code better. The reason why they're suppressed in some core files may be just after enabling these tests, there were lots of files in test folders that Magento was not able to update it at once, and that's why they were suppressed maybe. But for new code, it's better to follow the static tests. Actually, what this error is telling us that there are too many objects involved, too many classes involved in one file, and that's why the file might be too complex for readability. So dividing this class into several classes will improve the readability and will improve the beauty of the code.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Darsh, you started, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure. Yes. Let me just share my screen. Yep. So one of my PRs were the license label would be thrown off the image if the image is too short in height. So I fixed it by calculating a dynamic height based on how high the image is or how tall the image is. So I calculated and always make sure there is around 30 pixels in the bottom of the image, I mean below the label. So there'll be like 30 pixels in the bottom and then the label and then the image. So I fix it by putting a dynamic top displacement. And I can demo it right here. Yep. Sorry. Second. So as you can see, this is the image which was posted in the issue, which had the issue, and it's fixed. And if you see the top displacement for the container, it is 87, which is dynamically calculated. And for example, this one, which is a slightly taller image, the top is 81. So we can see that it's dynamically calculated and it ensures that there's always some space here. So yep, that issue is fixed now. And something else which I noticed and I learned today, and Sergey suggested that I share it with you guys, is the module dependencies, which is either hard or soft. So I learned that in the composer.json, if you put it as a require, then it's a hard dependency. And if you put it as a suggest, it's a soft dependency. And actually, this is actually incut. There's a missing example here, and I've submitted a PR for that as well. So if you put a suggest, it's a soft dependency, and if you put a require, it's a hard dependency. And the module sequence node is not actually a hard dependency, whereas it just defines the module load order, and it is considered a soft dependency. For example, you need the module, but it can work without that module as well. So that's something I learned today, and the dev docs actually has a missing example, which I have submitted a PR for too. And that's about it from my side. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's cool. Who's next? Oh, Vova joined the call. Hello. Would you like to go to show us some PHPStan
Hi.
tests?
Yeah. Do you hear me? No?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So PHP, I cannot give a lot of information about PHPStan. So PHPStan, what can I say that PHPStan can actually find errors in your code, which will be missed by linter or just some testing or something like this. So for example, you can find, so if you have some code used, for example, in the catch part of your method, and while testing, you usually you never go there. And in this part, you can have an error. For example, you can have undefined variable. So the variable which you actually create inside try, or you just don't have it. Or I fixed another project where there was just missed import. So there was a phrase, I think there was something like new exception throw in with a phrase, and inside, and the phrase was not imported. I don't know, it's something like this. And when you run a code, it doesn't give you any errors, while PHPStan will actually check everything. And you have different levels of checks.
Let me just, sorry, let me just give some context. Vova have opened a pull request to Adobe Stock Integration, introducing PHPStan tests to Travis, and those tests discovered a lot of code smells that were not discovered by our static tests and existing static tests. Basically by Magento static tests. So we decided to include the PHPStan as our Travis test, and fixed all. And Vova also fixed all code smells that were discovered. Yeah, please go ahead.
Cool news.
Yeah. So I believe that on any project, so you have different types of checks, like from level 0 to level 7, and level 0 will find actual errors, like level 2 will find some hostable errors or problems with your types, and level 7 will probably find something which is not really important. So I believe that level 2 must be included in any project, because it just gives you, like, it shows you errors, like real errors in the code. And it's good that we didn't have it at all on Adobe Stock module. And most of the errors were found on level 2. which is something I usually find with during code review. So I check if the type you provide in the method is the one you actually use inside. So the example is you provide order interface, order variable inside the method, and then inside you use get data. So in all of the cases, it will work because instead of order interface, you will get order object, which has that, which is inherited from data object. So it has this, but it's not good design and it's actually error, and you will find it in the level 2. So I included tests for level 2 and I fixed all of the errors I found. More or less, there were like this type hints errors and a few undefined things. And from now, I think it will check it in Travis every single time, as soon as it will be merged to develop, right, Sergey?
Yeah, I guess it is merged to develop. However, I'd like to say that if the Travis tests like PHPStan fails on your pull request and you have doubts, because we don't have too much experience in our project with PHPStan, so right now it's in experimental mode. It can give you a good advice on how to adjust the code, but if there is some situation that you are not sure that test results are correct, just let me know. Feel free to contact me about it.
And we should be aware about PHPStan that it doesn't have suppress warning, like, for example, Mess Detector has it. And in our case, it might be important because we use plugins. And in some cases, we don't use the all arguments of the original method. In this case, we will have the unused method argument, and PHPStan will fail on it, and there is no way to suppress it. Only maybe playing with the error check level, but I'm not sure actually.
Yeah, so maybe it's on the higher, maybe it's on level 3 or something like this. So yeah, because for us right now it's not failing. So let's see. Anyway, for everything I found with level 2, I would probably ask person to change it if I would see by myself in the code review. So it's kind of good check for yourself. It's kind of automated code review. So with like code style checks and PHPStan checks, you're more or less covered entirely. The only thing you have to actually code review is logic, or if you're doing stupid things, theoretically. Yeah, another good thing that it's very, very fast. I checked it on the project where we had, I think, 30,000 lines, and it's like a few seconds. So you can check it every single time. Okay, Sergey, do you want me to go through the bugs we found? So like common errors.
Excuse me, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Did you configure it to work on the div or for the whole project?
For the whole project.
Okay.
For the div, we probably have to. I don't know how to stop it for div. If you know, please share it with me. I need it.
Like I had discussion,
but probably it's
I had discussion, but
common
we
line thing. Yeah.
We like, I know a few guys, they are also playing with it, and they also like working on it, how to work it with div, because for Magento it will be like, it wastes a lot of time to just run this test because the project itself is very big. In general, doesn't make sense to run the tests again over the project because you probably want to have like to check on this difference between two commits.
I think it's important when you have already a project with a lot of errors. So if you have fixed, like in your level project, it's not a big deal because it's very, very fast. I haven't seen anything working so fast. Even all of these code sniffers or everything works slower. So you can actually run it every single
because
time,
it based it on the
every
PHP
pre-commit.
parser.
Yeah.
I used it very, very fast.
Yeah, so probably you can check how it's called, like how it's executed in the travis.yaml and run the PHPStan locally even before committing and before waiting for builds to pass, considering the speed.
Yeah.
Great.
Also, I don't know a good way for us right now, but in theory, all of us can just configure pre-commit hooks or something like this. So there is a way to have shared pre-commit hooks. So when you set up a project, you can have this pre-commit hooks set up automatically, and there can be checks running, for example, for code styles or PHPStan and all of this. So you will find errors before you will even commit, which will save you a lot of time. You will not have to wait while Travis will finish all of this. And I know a good way to do it if you have a full project, but for us it's a bit different because we have to kind of have Magento and our module separately, and it's a bit more complicated. Yeah, if I will find a way, I will share it because.
Well, yeah, that sounds interesting. Yeah, I was thinking about hooks. I'm not sure. It's actually not used on other projects as well. I have to actually check what experience other guys from community engineering had with other projects like MSI, GraphQL, and so on, and why hooks are not used there. Probably there is a reason for that, but maybe not. So, yeah.
I believe a few years ago we had some kind of pre-configured hooks to do not allow commit empty messages. It was like one of the rules inside the company, but I'm not sure about the current situation. It would be good to know actually. Probably some team use something like that.
Again, I use it right now, but for the project. So it's just the way to stop there. If you will want a person to set it up, you will have to add like a part of the README or wiki when you set up your Adobe Stock project, what else you have to do to make it work. Because I think we cannot include it inside our like repository. It's kind of not related. So I can think about it and maybe should make a proposal or something like this.
Yeah, sure. Feel free to add a page to wiki and describe it, and probably you can add the hook as some text inside the wiki if you don't want to commit it to repository.
Yeah.
And yeah, we can take a look on it and discuss it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you too. Oh, I see it's merged now. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you very much,
Yeah, thank you.
So, are there any other volunteers to demo something? Shankar?
I can start the demo. Yes, I can give the demo.
Yes, please.
I'll share my screen now. Okay. Just a moment, some issue with the blue jeans count.
If you need a bit more time to stop the environment, we can first take a look
No,
at
no,
the.
just.
Okay.
Can you share my? Can you see my screen right now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I will start the demo from the issue which we have found in our previous meeting. That remove the first image from the related images like mode from model and mode from series. I have created the pull request, but also found an issue related to that. Currently, we have removed the first image from the mode from series and mode from model, but I saw some of the cases in which the first image is not the same in the mode from series or mode from model. As you can see here, that mode from series doesn't have same, and mode from model doesn't have the same first image. But if you go for some any other image like this, here we don't see the same image, but if you check out the model here, the second image is the same as the preview, the same image as the image preview. So I don't have any idea. So what we can do here to fix this issue, that we move from the mode from the to remove the image from mode from this model.
Could we add a check maybe to check if the image ID is the same for both? And then if it is, then skip the image and not return it?
Can do that, but still we have the limit of the related image. Like we are passing the related image that it's a fixed amount like 5 or 4. So I don't think that it would work.
I think I'm not sure if it's possible, but can we try to adjust the request for the images when we are requesting the same series or same model images? So the request right now is model ID equals to the image ID, right? And we can add another filter saying image ID not equals to existing image, to the image that we are showing.
Yeah,
if that's possible.
Yeah, we can try that filtering the image ID with the mode from series or mode from this model. We can give a try. Yeah. So I will work on that. And my another PR is license overlay label is missing for just license image. As we are just now discussing with, as I now discussing with Sergi that this license image doesn't need to close a preview, and also had some confusion about why we need to request this provider. As I started working on this, I just directly call the provider here directly in the save part, but I am getting an invalid error that the provider is not found or it's undefined. So this is the best way to call the provider from the image preview to the view config. But I'm not sure how it's working right now, because the same issue was happened for this pull request, but from series ID and model ID filters. As I checked this for like couple of weeks, but I didn't find any solution. But as I put the provider over the in the view configuration, and it's fixed the issue. As you can see that if I see more from model, the value is persisted, and if I log out and log in again, Oh, so it's not related to that. I thought that it is related to the this provider issue, but I guess it's not. I tested for the couple of time, but I always got the model ID. But as I saw the preview, it didn't work. So I guess it needs to be any other issue. But as I checked the model ID, it's persisted in the local storage. As I checked, the series ID and model ID both are present. So I think it might be an issue because we need to clear the filter or somewhat. It's the model ID should be persisted in the local storage and it should be visible over here. I don't know why it's not showing over here.
So the
Any
model
ideas,
ID
guys?
and series ID is not actually filters that are available in the filter section. That's why I think the Magento UI components might skip those values and not add it to while rendering the active filters. That is just an assumption for me. So in this case, yeah, just wondering if we should initialize those filters ourselves as we are setting them from our components, and we might need to initialize them from our components as well. But yeah, basically that's an assumption, but what we really need to do is to check how the saved filters, the applied filters, are actually loaded by the Magento UI components. And then
Okay. Okay, I can try some other way to fix this issue, but I will try to initialize in our component and try to fix this issue. That's it from my side.
okay, thanks. So yeah, as for hiding the preview, so if preview is not hidden, there is an issue where series and model images cannot be loaded because we update the data. So I guess all the information that we are storing in the record right now, it's better to store it not in the record, but in the property of our components, just to be able to reload the record and not rely on some custom fields that we are adding to the record during the runtime. Sorry, Shankar.
Yes, but I think I think the issue is regarding with the related images. The related images are invoked on only when you click on an image preview. If you click on that, the show function is initiated, and in the show function, the whole observable array is initialized in the show image. So if we reload the data provider, then the show function is not initialized, so the series ID is not initialized. So that's why we are getting the issue, I think, but not sure. As I check the code, the only place where the related images are invoked is in the show function, image preview.
Okay, let's take this offline. Actually, it's a complex discussion for a public meeting.
Okay.
Thank you, Shankar. So yeah, Eugene, I think we are done with pull request demo. So if you can show us the new mockups that you have prepared. for the milestone 3 implementations, that will be great.
Just 1 second. So I have redesigned current media gallery slightly. So let me show you the full flow. So user opens media gallery somehow, and we still have the folder structure. We're not changing that. Perhaps we can redesign it a little bit to look a little bit more modern, but the main thing happens here. So we changed how the actual assets are displayed a little bit. So apart from selecting an asset that you can do previously when you click on it and you can add the selected one to the page, we also added this kind of like a more menu. It's contextual to each asset. And if we look at the ones that are stock image and it's unlicensed, we can also license it from here, launching the same flow that we have in Adobe Stock Slideout. I can also see the special icon here that represents that this is actually Adobe Stock asset, and we will show if the asset is unlicensed. We're not show licensed label because we assume that most of the assets in a merchant gallery would be licensed, and they don't want to see that, so we'll highlight only unlicensed one. So if you click on the view details, we're going to show a slide out panel with all the information we store on the particular asset. So there's like a details panel with file data. Maybe you can also show where the asset is used, its tags, and Adobe Stock specific data. It will also show the full image preview. Yes, what else? So user can also delete the asset, and uploading, I propose to move from this view to the button bar. Have upload action there. Yes, apart from that, it's still not very detailed. Like there's no, for example, there's no specs for all the sizes. I'm working on creating a spec sheet, so you can actually start developing it. You know all the colors and all the sizes for this, but this is the general flow people would take. Do you have any questions?
What about filters section?
Yes, so I haven't, I know I've showed this before with, I don't have this link. I know I showed before the search and filtering mechanism. I just decided not to, so we definitely can add it. Is that I think the important part right now to concentrate is actual actions that you can do to images. But guys, if you want to tackle that first, the filters, I can definitely add to this mockup and think about how filters would work with folders as well, because technically folder is also a filter, right? Yeah, but my assumption was we just concentrate on the assets list and make the assets be able to license and view details from here. And we tackle the filtering and all the advanced searching later. But again, correct me if I'm wrong, and we can also do that as well.
Well, I guess considering that we are going to use existing Magento AI components and the filter that filters that were shown on previous mockups are like their appearance is exactly, as far as I remember, matches to current to other grids in Magento. That's okay, but if we are going to consider any custom styles for filters, then it's better to bring up as soon as possible so that we can plan, probably build some prototype and understand how complex is it and how deep we should customize the existing AI components to achieve the desired design and behavior.
Okay, so my question then would be, if we use the grid component and we show the filters, do we still retain the folder structure? Can we basically somehow replicate this thing in a new UI component world?
I'm not ready to answer that question right now. Yes, I think it's possible to use it. Like the pass to the image is actually one field of the image right now, and folder structure is basically the representation of image pass field filter. So theoretically, we could apply probably the approach similar to the approach that we are using right now for filtering websites and stores. Like there are stores filters that also have several levels, and yeah, that looks similar to that one.
Okay, yeah. Then definitely we'll be adding the bar with the search and filter here. I still think there's some disconnect between that UI when you basically have a flat table structure or grid structure and the current media gallery folder structure. Still need to resolve that, but yeah, definitely we'll be adding search and filters here.
Okay, great.
Thank you, guys. That's it from me.
Yeah, Eugene, one more question actually from me. I noticed there is a checkbox, right? When you select an image, it's actually a checkbox. Does it mean that we can select several images and add them to? And is it the case right now?
So for now, as far as I understand, in Magento, you can only add one image at a time. When you're requesting a media gallery, it opens up, and basically the action is you select one and then you proceed. So for now, we can, I think, retain this functionality. But the checkbox is actually idea that we can then later use it to add multiple images or maybe perform actions on images like bulk actions when we can select multiple images and say delete them or remove them or edit metadata or whatever. Definitely good question though. Like if you don't think we're gonna have multi-select anytime soon, because again, this model is only for selecting one image. We can just remove the checkbox for now and have just a border around the image and not use checkbox, and basically add the checkbox later when this whole model would be allowing multi-select. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Probably the question only is, are we going to implement multi-select and some multi-actions during the next milestone or later? That's if and yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that is like a work for later when we add additional functionality to the media gallery. my point of view is that milestone 3 would be simplifying the licensing process and previewing process from the media gallery. So you don't need to go to Adobe Stock slide out panel. You can save time and easier preview all your assets in one place.
Yeah, I also think that considering the number of customizations we'll need to implement, probably will not have so much time to handle multiple add-in if we want to synchronize the releases of Adobe Stock Integration and Magento. I'm not sure if we will follow this approach. But yeah, then probably it's better to just highlight an image and remove the checkbox.
Okay, yeah, I agree. It's not needed right now at this point. Okay, so
Eugene, I have a doubt regarding the delete functionality in your design. In the default Magento, the delete button is outside. Why exactly is it like moved inside a menu?
So just to make all the actions available on the image contextual and available here instead of like in the button bar, because the button bar, for me at least, it's more related to the whole slide out panel and the experience of actually selecting an image and adding it to the page. But I definitely would like to hear your feedback. Do you think we still need to pursue the top bar, because we'll be adding more buttons here whenever the image is selected, and you already see like there's quite a few buttons here. What do you think?
Right. What I was thinking was maybe we could eliminate this contextual menu, and on clicking that dot menu icon, the slide out could open, and you could have the delete button there, or if it's an unlicensed image, you could have the license button here. Yeah, in this slide out. So we could have a delete or license button here.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. I was thinking about adding a slide out panel here. A button bar here with the actions that you can perform with the image. I will definitely consider that as well. But I really don't want this to be the only place you will do this. I still think that this grid is a go-to place by default. But I agree with you. We definitely can duplicate them here because it just makes sense, right? You're previewing the asset. You can do stuff with it as well here.
Yeah, I thought maybe you could just eliminate an extra click by moving those buttons here and removing that contextual menu and directly opening this slide out panel. I mean, yeah, just a suggestion. Yep.
Good point. Yeah, but I don't want, primary action on the asset would be opening a slide out panel, because again, this model is about selecting an image, adding it to the stage or to your editor, using the image as a content rather than just viewing the details and that flow.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any more questions? We're on time, I think.
Yeah, just on time. Thank you, Eugene, very much for the new mockups and presentation. Thanks everybody who participated and presented the pull request and just attended. If there are any last minute things that you would like to bring up, you have the last chance to do it on this meeting. Great, thank you guys. Have a nice evening, night, or morning, and happy contributions, and see you next week, next Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.